Well, I kind of like it without the pegs. It's almost too large to fit into the frame, but hearts are trending hard right now. Trending hard. And I think I have one heart piece left out of the few dozen that I have sold in the last 2 months. So, but somebody along the lines went through and stained this kind of really bad. So I don't really see it being terribly sellable. So I'm going to need to do a lot. I need to do something to it to make it better. So it has the hangers for the hangers on the wall. So we will leave those. So I'm going to see what I can do sanding it and see where we get it, because a lot of people are liking the natural wood. I think they just went over with some kind of a gel stain and stained it darker to match their decor. So hopefully, I mean, it's a nice, except I don't know about these because that's not going to be the easiest thing to sand. If anything, I can just cut them off, even though I think people would like to hang stuff from them. We'll see how that goes. Do I need 2 of the rods to hang stuff through? I don't know. It's all about how easy it is for me to sand to get the stain off. Here it is. So you can see somebody stained it. I don't know. It may be easier for me just to cut this one off flush, and leave maybe this one. That's not an easy space to try to sand. Do you need 2 of them? No, I think people do like to hang, but I don't. It's all about me being able to sand it. That's all. That's how it comes. That's the bottom line there. I think this is what's going to be the easiest for me. So I'm going to see how much sanding I can do, see where we get it. If I can stain it, I'll stain it. If I have to paint it, then I'll paint it. I sanded the whole thing to get the stain off with 60 grit. So, and then some 80 grit. And then now I'm going to take a 220 grit and smooth everything back down. Those lower numbers, we'll leave it raised. And now we just need to smooth, but I don't want to take pine. This is really soft pine, so of course it was taking a lot of the wood off, but that also did make it easier to sand too. So I don't necessarily want to wet the wood, as I do need to get any more of the sanding dust off, so I just have a sticky tack cloth. I think most of it came off, but just want to make sure. Now, the one place I did not try to sand, I did not think I could evenly sand the hearts. So they're just going to be maybe a darker shade. But pretty much got everything else sanded. I felt like when I bought it at auction that I would be able to sand that stain off. Don't do a ton of staining. So this is what I have on hand. I have provincial walnut from Homestead House. Yes, it is. It's just like the milk paint. It's a powder stain. I have used it. It probably won't be as goldy as like the 80s vibe would have been, but I'm going to do 1.5, well, 3/4. And then this I will mix up equal parts because it's a stain. I don't need it to be thick and chippy. I just need it to stain the wood. But yeah, they make a stain also. And unfortunately, I would like a little gold tone because that's what it what would have been age appropriate, what they are buying. Okay, let's see what it does. Yep, it might go darker than what I wanted. I'm not gonna stress about it. I'm going to put it on. This is actually a wet rag because it is kind of a little bit more paint-like than I wanted it to be, so that's okay. It's not dry. It's not sealed in, so we'll just wipe it back. There, that's becoming more of the color I was envisioning. Little goldy. So I kind of find it was easier just to apply with the rag, personally, since I was wiping all of it off anyway. There it is. Now I just have to let it dry before I can seal it in. You can see where it's becoming kind of chalky. That means that it's dry. So I just have to let this completely dry. I think that's a pretty good color for this air of pine heart shells. And I think that the little inserts will be just fine. So I'm going to use my go-to weather defense. I use it at everything. I think it'll be just fine. So right now it just looks really chalky, but once we do a clear coat, it'll brighten it right up and kind of look like that 80s pine that it maybe was before. Now, I'd like to say that you're done after you do your top coat, but you're not. That raises the grain of this pine. So I need to take steel wool and go ahead and sand and make sure that it's smooth. This is the finest grit steel wool that you can get, the double 000 4 zeros. Bring it back to life after sanding it. We're going to use some Fusion's aging wax. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like it was when we started. It won't. I'm positive. It's just going to make everything nice and smooth. See, just smooth it. I know it is kind of cute, but these are all loose. I don't really think that makes a heart, but maybe it does. And it's MDF board. So I thought, let's take these off, tighten, repaint this. It is just an adorable little shelf, but it'd be easier to take those off to paint it and then put them back on. And then you can see the screws. So we don't want to see that. I actually bought this out of somebody's booth at an antique shop. So I'm going to mix up some Bondo to fill those in. I don't know. Now I kind of like it without. Well, I kind of like it without the pegs. Oh goodness. So it has like that's a defined heart. That is definitely a heart, and then that I'm on the fence about. And I can't say that I can fill something like that in, but I can apply something over it. Maybe after I get it painted, find something. Oh, look at I was thinking that I was filling that in. Oh, I don't need that much. Just some screw holes. And I think this is all put together. Oh yeah, I got screw holes on the sides too. I thought when I saw it at the store that they had like, oh, we need to cover those. I just like to use Bondo because Bondo it dries quick. Then you can move on with your life and do your job. I know the birdhouse is cute, but I mean, I think it was like a couple bucks in somebody's booth. It was not very much money. I thought I had maybe I had a wooden heart or something, but I had this piece of Salvage. I love Salvage, and that actually it's the right like shape. And then I thought I could trace the heart on here. That would be cute to kind of bring it all together to give it a totally different vibe. So wherever, I'm going to trace that now. We'll see how that looks. I'm officially surprised. I cannot believe that this was actually wood. I totally would have thought it was MDF board, though you can tell it had a repair at one time. That when the vibration was happening, it broke off. So let's see if I can chip off what glue is on there still. And then I'll use some CA glue. Both parts, a little bit of activator. I seal my wood in with some shellac as a primer. Do some pantry door. I think this will pair nice with the salvage piece and then the white pegs. So pantry door first. And then a little bit of basil just to darken it up a little bit. Yeah. Just that hue to go with that salvage wood. Yes, you can mix and match Sweet Pickins paint. Any milk paint, it's powder. You can probably mix any paint you wanted to. So just make sure you get it all stirred up well. I'm waiting for my paint to thicken up. I'm going to use DIY's White Swan to paint the heart. Big old thick pencil line so I could see it. I thought the white would go. I don't know if those pegs would not be very easy to try to sand or repaint. So I'm like, why don't we just match the heart with the pegs? Hard part about painting this is that those back slats. And I couldn't get in there to sand. So we'll just kind of push it in there. Yeah, I mean, I was totally surprised that it was wood. I thought, oh, this is going to be MDF board. but it was not. It was just decoupaged over. It was just paper, not painted, paper. It's almost like you have to paint the back too, because you can see those little slats and stuff. For dry, we go ahead and get it sanded. So I do want to put a little glue, some tight bond wood glue. I'm just going to eyeball, and then I'm going to do a couple short brads to make sure it stays. Okay, they didn't go. I was positive that they were short enough. But, oh, I love that already, but I got to wax it yet, but I wanted to get that on. I didn't want to try to glue on to wax. Aging wax. If it darkens it, it's okay. Much easier to do with that without the pegs on. I got to seal my heart in. I'm just going to take a little bit of Weather Defense. We'll get our little back on. So at the same auction, I snagged this piece, knowing that it was painted. There again, they really like the wood tone. I can't say that I think this one would sell too much, as I think that's black. So I have done a few different colors, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's not like, so it just attaches like that. I was looking because there's a lot of pegs on it for some reason. I do not know why. I was almost thinking of taking a couple of them off, like the ones that are up here. Just, it seems like a lot of pegs. If they hammer off real easy, I might. But I mean, I like the thought of hanging stuff off some of the pegs, but I just think that's a lot of pegs. So it's the up ones. I looked to see if they were screwed in the back. I did not see a screw, maybe a nail. Oh, there we go. Nope, nothing. Just a big hole. Just need to loosen them up. So they must have had some little pegs like they do at the side of this. So there's actually glue in there, like a hot glue, some type of glue. So I'm just mixing up some Bondo to fill in those. So Bondo's just like a wood putty. Well, I use it as a wood putty. Just something to do. Tape off the back. Try to keep it as clean as I can. The original paint job was a little, I don't know if it's a chalk paint because it's sanding off really easy. I don't know. But I can get this wiped down. I don't know what the paint is. I'm just going to use that same tack cloth I used earlier. Get the sanding dust off. We're going to go ahead and seal this all in with shellac. Use it as a primer. I don't, like I said, I don't know what the paint is. And then I have Bondo and shade spots. So I'm going to give this a cottage core kind of look. So some chippy white paint, but I don't want it just to be black. So here and there, I'm just going to put some of the limestone chalk paint in the color Storm. Just like I said, random. I'm using this because I can just dry it with a heat gun. Doesn't have to make sense. Just supposed to look like it's been painted numerous times. Don't kind of think always like the hearts and the best dressed goose reminds me of blue, you know, the marmalade. Not to be confused with the marmalade jars, but the marmalade plate sets, the goose and stuff like that. Extremely popular at the moment. If you can get your hands on any, if you're lucky. So I'll take the heat gun to dry it, but remembering not to hold it too long because you also use heat to remove paint and you don't want to bubble up those couple coats of shellac. Yes, I did 2 coats of shellac on here. I'm going to mix up some flour sack by Sweet Pickins. This is still drying. I want to seal it in with some shellac also, but I want to get my paint mixing so it can set up. So as you see, Sweet Pickins is a powder paint that you mix with water, just room temperature, tap water. I just keep it in a bottle. I just painted over a limestone chalk paint. It would just I would have light blue, so I need to seal it in, and hopefully we get some chippiness and cracking over it in that area. So shellac. I'm also going to use for some chippiness some beeswax. Just random. One of those plate edges that you can stick a plate in. I wanted to tape off the back because I know this process will be messy. When I lay it down, it'll probably run. Second coat, you can see some awesome crackling going on, but of course it's not enough paint to cover. This is always that, like, do I add some more wax. Do I add anything else? Nope, I'm just going to go in with paint. And hopefully it does the same exact crackle that is doing with that first coat. The second coat, I had to let it dry overnight, but look at that little crackling going on there in the random spots. Amazing. We have this big old area, probably where the wax was that wants to chip off. So that's fun. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and sand it a little bit, and then we seal it in. But oh, how fun! Now I'm sanding to smooth out, so I'm just using 220, a used pad, not a fresh pad. We're not trying to get the paint all the way off. We just want to make it sure it's smooth. Got to remove the tape so we can sand that crusty edge where the paint builds up. I think to finish it off and hopefully bring out some of the blue, I'm going to use hemp oil. Just Fusion's hemp oil. This one's this one's in the natural color. No, it's not going to be green. But I'm just looking to, I kind of want to keep the white. Look at how it brings out the, oh, hold on. It's so large, it's hard to do it. Look how it brings out the crackle, y'all. So it's one of those where you have to wipe it on, and then you have to let it sit for like 10 minutes and then wipe it off. But I thought, oh, I absolutely love how it crackled, how it sanded. And I didn't really want to change my white color by adding a colored wax or anything. It is. It's a heart. Actually, I have the exact same one in my booth, and it's blue, and it hasn't sold. So, definitely going to paint it up. That's a little drawer, so we'll go ahead and take the drawers out. I will change the knobs. Knobs are very easy to change out. We just need to hammer them off. That's all it takes. Tape off to protect. I'm going to be doing bayberry. Which doesn't look, when you take it out of the packet, doesn't look like much. But once you put it on, it does. I'm not looking for really any chippiness or anything like that, so I'm not going to shellac anything. just wanted to cover up the blue paint. As I said, I didn't shellac anything. I'm hoping that it just absorbs right into the wood. I noticed that the Homestead House brand's a little bit grittier, even no matter how much I stir it up. It doesn't give quite the crackle effect. It does sometimes crackle. I taped off the back. So I don't want to take a power sander to this because I don't want to get down to the blue. So I'm just taking 220 by hand and just smoothing that paint out. If some of the blue shows through, it kind of coordinates anyway with the bayberry. And then we're just going to take some antiquing wax, or aging wax, excuse me, aging wax. That really brings out the color. Oh, there's a little bit of that blue peeking through, but that's all good. Yep. The back is MDF board. So to give it some age, I got the wax anyway. I think that looks better. Personal opinion. The peg holes did not go all the way through, so I need to drill. Holes that go all the way through. Little knobs, little porcelain knobs. So the knobs are, I guess you could say thrifted. They're just, I buy them out of somebody's booth. And then I have to order screws and stuff off of Amazon. Take a little bit of Fusion's Coal Black. I'm going to attempt to cover up the screws, but they're stainless steel, so they don't necessarily stay painted. But this has a paint primer and top coat in it, so we'll just pray for the best.